Welcome to Up on the Bars discussion with your host, Roy Bain.
Thursday night Up on the Bars discussion. I'm Roy Bain, your host. And tonight we have a lot of the staff from Southern Oregon Speedway on here to preview the 2023 season at Southern Oregon Speedway. Up on the top, you see Travis Hoppus. Then we have the legendary racer and Hall of Famer football player Dane Smith over there. And then we have the voice of Southern Oregon Speedway and morning show guy Jason Allen. So welcome, guys.
Welcome.
So, well, let's kick it off. What has everybody been up to over the off season? Travis, we'll start off with you. What have you been up to?
Trying to do as little as possible. No, I've actually been working on scheduling, going to promoter meetings or conferences, trying to just deal with this and my construction company all at the same time. Get it all ready to go.
Well, I saw you at Warpa. I went there for one night and with everybody there, and I know that was. I just have to ask: was there a lot of hangovers going on up there?
Yeah, few.
I think so. So, well, Dane, what have you been up to? We haven't seen you since the season ended over there at Southern Oregon Speedway. What have you been up to?
I'm building a new race car. I'm coming back this year, and now I'm lying. I've been cooking cheeseburgers every day, and just really busy at Mr. Smith's, and looking forward to having a great season out at Southern Oregon Speedway.
Yeah. Well, I got to see y'all earlier. We had a big meeting with all of us that were involved in doing stuff to help promote the track was there, and that was a good time. Always fun to go over there. Jason, I know you've been busy because I see your posts all the time. Tell us what you do in your real life and then what you do in the racing and what you've been up to for the track over the off season.
Well, I have 5 kids, so when I'm not chasing kids around and trying to keep up with all of them, I do a morning show here at KRM. I'm actually in our studio right now, so I wouldn't have a kid running in the middle of our segment here because there's a good chance if I was at home that would happen. But then I'm in marketing and advertising here at the radio station and helping these guys at the Speedway as much as I can. I know we've had a handful of meetings and just trying to figure out how we can just raise the level of entertainment out there, right? Better all the way around. So we've put our heads together and working on hopefully bringing some new sponsors on board. And yeah, I mean, it makes for a busy schedule, but it's totally worth it. And I'm here because it's fun. It's a fun thing for me to be a part of. So yeah, it's a good time and I'm looking forward to the season. Just been watching racing too. I've been trying to watch more racing because I've been away from the sport for quite a while. So, I've been watching, watched the Chili Bowl and I've watched some of the modified races, the Winter Nationals, and trying to get up to speed because a lot of these guys that follow it all the time, they know who's who and what's what, so I'm just trying to get up to speed as quickly as I can. And this will be really the first full season for me. So it's exciting.
Yeah. So you said you've been watching the racing. Did you watch Kokopah?
I watched some of it, really just bits and pieces of it. I tried to catch as many highlights as much as the free stuff. I'm kind of a frugal guy. So, I just caught what I could catch for free and watched what I could and watched all the recaps. So, yeah, I watched some of it for sure.
All right. The reason why I'm asking is you're in the announcing and all that stuff. Jerry Van Sickle, one of the best announcers for racing I've ever listened to. That guy, if you ever wanted to learn how to announce it, you need to mirror what that guy does. You cannot help. I think he could be telling somebody drinking a cup of coffee to get you excited about it. I've had him on my show. He's an awesome dude. And it's cool that you're doing it. So what got you into announcing at the racetrack? Let me ask you that question.
Well, I mean, if I'm being completely honest, they were without an announcer for the R. Charles a couple of years ago, and I think I was the last man standing that they could think of. Brian Bowman called me and said, hey, can you help us out at the races? And it was a Friday morning, and I thought he was talking about Saturday. And I said, well, let me talk to my wife tonight when I get home. He goes, no, we need you in a couple hours. And so, of course, my heart jumped out of my chest. And he's like, we don't have any options here. And I grew up around racing. My uncle raced at Cottage Grove back in the 70s and early 80s, and then he raced at Roseburg on the asphalt there in his old timer and his street stock. But yeah, so I just decided to jump in and help, and it kind of felt natural when I got there. I mean, I still don't think my nerves have calmed down since that first time. That was it was something else. But we made it through it, and then I got to come back and finish out the season, and then helped out part of the season last year. And so I feel like we must be doing something right. And the guys could speak to that, but it's just been a lot of fun, and I'm just trying to learn as quickly as I possibly can. To just make the experience good for those that are either watching on Speed Union TV or our fans who are there. And that's part of the reason I've been watching so much racing in the off season, is just to get a better idea what everyone else is doing, and then how can we elevate our game.
Yep.
Hey, Roy, can I add something there?
Yes, sir.
Jason came on in a spur of the moment. We got him. He's been fabulous.
We lost sound from Travis. There he is.
Speedway.
Yeah, you cut out for just a moment, but we got it. So one of the comments, Harvey Balestrini Jr. out of Petaluma says Dane Smith was awesome. Used to come to Petaluma open shows in the 80s. So I just watched the video of Dane racing at, I think it's probably right when Southern Oregon Speedway first planted its roots over there.
I love Petaluma.
Yep. Well, Dane's a high side tickler. He got on the outside and passed the whole dang field. That's pretty impressive back then. And I got to say something about that race I watched, Dane. I got to tell you, the give and take that was on the track between you and Bruce, and I don't know who was driving the red car with the wing. You could watch y'all's cars. You'd go into the corner and come up, and you'd see y'all almost come to a stop, giving lots of room and all that. Dane, you made it look easy, though, when you got the lead. When you got the lead, it was lights out. You were gone.
Yeah, well, that was Rick Singler, the other guy. And him and Bruce Rayburn, we had some great races back in the day. Sadly, they're both gone way too soon.
Yep. So, David Michael Owens, yes, we're going to be doing some coverage from Stockton 99 this year. So, thank you for tuning in. Robert Him says, looking forward to the 2-day show for the Tri-State Pro Stocks. And said, thank you, Travis Hoppus, for having the Pro Stocks up there. So, thank you. So, Travis, tell us how the promotion team at Southern Oregon came together, because Dane Smith's a part of it. You're a part of it. And I think Brian Bowman, that was mentioned earlier, is a part of it. Who are some of the other people that are on the board that y'all work with there?
Yeah, so we've got Dane. Dane is pretty much considered my partner. He's the vice president. And then you got our boards of, we got Brian Bowman, you got Albert Gill, James Anderson, and Travis Snyder.
Mm-hmm. And we've had Albert Gill on here. We've had Travis Schneider on here too. I like talking to Travis. He's funny. He's quite the character to talk to when you get him on here. So earlier this winter, when we all got together and talked about it, there was a lot of things that were brought out. And one of the things that was mentioned that you brought up is you're going to be taking your intermission time at a really cool time when you're at the racetrack. Can you tell us when that is and why you came up with that idea?
Yeah, we kind of were, last year we wanted to do something that didn't work out that well. And we're always worried about the driver's safety when the sun is going down. The last 10 minutes is very dangerous. Drivers can't really see turn 3. And so this year, actually working with Jason, which I'm going to kind of let him share a little bit of what he's doing, but we might have a potential sponsor that wants to buy our intermissions. So we're going to want to. It's going to be tricky because it's, the sun goes down. We lose a minute every day, but we want to try to time it to where, everybody knows that the last 10 minutes of sundown, we're going to take a 10, 15-minute intermission, and then carry on with the races.
Right. And for guys that haven't raced at Southern Oregon Speedway, the reason why they're doing that is you come out of turn 2 and you start down the backstretch to turn 3, and the sun hits you right in the eyeballs, and you can't see a dang thing. So they, in the interest of safety, they decided that they're going to take that time to intermission, let the sun get down, so you're not trying to drive into the sun. And I think that is that's something huge that y'all have implemented for this year.
Yes, and hopefully it works out with our agenda. We've got a lot of new ideas and new plans as far as speeding up the show early. and then so that we could kind of showcase more of the drivers for the A-mains and not rush the A-mains so much. But
Right.
at the beginning of the show, drivers need to know they better be on their game because we're going to be pushing them hard.
Right, and I know one of the things we talked about is at that meeting is you're trying to do 3, maybe 4 hours tops for your show. I think that's an awesome idea too, because I know some of those nights when they get done at 2:00 in the morning, they're not very fun, especially if you got to work the next day.
Yeah, I mean, sadly, I think our first year, the worst time we went to like 12:30 and it was rough. We had a lot of fans mad and some drivers mad. Most of the times we get done around 10:30, 11. This year we're actually going to start early, an hour, just like all the other tracks. So starting at 7, we're going to start at 6. So our game plan is to be done by 10. But we are adding more classes. We tried the 3 classes last year. It's kind of boring, so we're going to try to have a minimum of 4 to 5 classes every night.
Okay. Well, Travis, I'm going to let you keep talking a little bit about what you're planning. So I'll be back in just a minute.
Are you leaving us?
No, I'm here. I'm back now. We're
Oh.
good. We're good. My
Wait a
screen
minute.
froze
Wait a
up.
minute. I'll put Jason on the air and have him talk about this new thing that he's doing.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I mean,
somebody's already said they're a fan
Yeah,
of
well,
that page and that not driving into the sun. So I don't get everybody's name on here. So if I don't get your name, I apologize. So
Yeah, everybody's. I'm hoping the drivers respect that because there's not a driver I know that likes driving and not seeing what's in front of them.
yeah,
But
it's
we've got a lot of new things coming up this year. Jason's got a cool idea that we're going to implement. We just got to come up with the right songs, right? I'll let Jason kind of explain that.
yeah, Jason.
yeah, I mean, really, we're just trying to elevate the game, right? So intermission, we're working a couple of sponsors, and hopefully those come to fruition. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves here, but to just provide more entertainment when we are taking breaks, and then condense those breaks, and then provide good quality entertainment, right? So we're working a few things that'll be unique about the Southern Oregon Speedway. We're gonna attempt to roll out a thing where we have a specific song for each class. So when you hear that song, that class is rolling out on the track for the main event. Just little tweaks to make it more fun for everyone. And people have been really receptive. It's the first time I've helped out with sponsorship at the Speedway, and that's what I do in my real job. So I have a lot of those connections already. But people are open to helping, and it's just figuring out what's a good fit and how they can support the track. And that's what I've just told people out there. And for people who are watching this who might want to get involved, I mean, I think half the battle is just being able to real job where I work the morning show and only have part of the day to get to people. And if I can get to them, we can get some work done. But, in this case, people just need to be asked, and let them know what we're doing out there. And it's good family entertainment. The guys have done a great job having open ears. They've been open to ideas, very receptive to ideas. They listen to the fans. I mean, that's why it's moving up an hour, so families can bring their kids out, stay till the main event, catch that. And then hopefully we can entertain them, give away some prizes, just have some fun with it, and try and hear what the fans have to say and make it a better experience for them, make it a better experience for the drivers. And that's all we're doing. We're kicking around ideas and just trying to improve. These guys 2 years ago had a modified season because of COVID. And then last year we got rained out, 8-9 weekends in a row. And so it was another modified season just based off the weather. So I think we're all excited to hopefully get some decent weather going into the season, hopefully in April. And when we hit the season, we'll have, the earlier start time, condensed show, a better show, and how the flow of everything goes. Like with these guys, it's their deal on the back end to figure out the scheduling and the classes and who's going to win and all that stuff. And then the flow, obviously, it's my job to make sure we're keeping everything tight from the tower. But, just trying to do the best job we can for the fans and the drivers and the sponsors. That's really what it's all about, right? Creating this big triangle where everyone feels good about it. And I think back to what I was saying a minute ago, if there's people out there who want to get on board and don't know what to do, maybe they've never been asked before, get a hold of one of us and we can figure something out, figure out how to get people on board, because it takes a village to keep this thing going. And we know, that it's harder every day that goes by, right? There's a lot of people begging for people's time, and these guys are trying to provide, a great place to race cars, first of all, and then great entertainment for families. So, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to put all our heads together, pull from all of our different resources and make this thing successful. And I believe that's what it's going to take. And that's why I'm here to help these guys out. So, I mean, that's basically it in a nutshell, I guess, guys, unless I missed something.
No, David Owens, I'm going to be down and see probably Josh Cross this weekend. That's something that we can do in the future. The show tonight's about Southern Oregon Speedway, so I don't want to get derailed. I want to make sure these guys have time to promote what they're doing for this year. I like the idea of the intro songs and getting those together for each class, so it's always the same. Like if you've got the mini stocks out there, you hear the song coming, you know what class is coming out. To me, it helps keep the flow of what's going on for the night. One of the other things that we talked about, and I talked with Travis this week about it, we want to do something after the races every weekend. So drivers, if you're listening, I want you to listen in right now, and Travis is going to expound on this in just a minute. Hey, Brian Bowman, how you doing? Hey, Mark Garner. As soon as your race is done for the night and the last main event is leaving the track, you should already be headed up to get your payout for the night. Wear your fire suit up there. We're looking at maybe doing a happy hour after the show where we have some beer sales, things like that, where the drivers can interact with the fans. You can meet the fans. I guarantee you some driver out here has picked up a sponsor because somebody in the stands has been a fan. This is a chance for you to maybe bring in new sponsorship for your race team to help build what we're talking about, and something we talk about on the show all the time. It takes the racers to make the race. It takes the promoters and the racetrack to make the race. But most important, it takes the fans in the stands to make it. We're all here for the people that come to the stands in one shape, form, or fashion or another. This is your chance to help bolster and build what Southern Oregon is all about in their speedway, and creating a fun family time at the racetrack. It gives you a chance to get out and meet that potential young man. Jason, you got to drive a sport mod this last season. Your lifelong dream. You wanted to do it from sitting in the grandstands as a kid watching it. You're the next person. It's addictive. You want to go race again now. I know you do. You can't tell me you don't.
Yeah, if I knew more about cars, I pretty much had my wife convinced the other day, but then she said something about announcing the season, so they kind of conflict with each other. So you can't really be in two places at once. But yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. I would do it in a heartbeat if I had the opportunity. You know, I love announcing, but if the opportunity presented itself, I would. These guys would be looking for someone else to announce because it's fun, and it was better than I thought it would be. And I wish I could have got a couple more laps in, but we'll negotiate for a couple more laps this year and see how that goes.
Somebody asked.
Roy has the Bluetooth capability that we're going to be looking into, so you could be running around.
We can try it.
Hey, we tried the last year. Everybody with Speed Union, you got to understand, we learned a lot last year, and Jason's been in the tower while we're doing all of this stuff, and he knows that streaming's not as easy as it looks, is it, Jason?
No, and I don't know how you guys do it. And I sit here every day. I'm actually sitting in our radio studio right now, and I can sit here and press buttons with my eyes closed. But watching you guys do that is something else, and it's impressive to watch just to coordinate everything. But yeah, it's definitely not easy and way above my head.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that was one of the things, and we really come a long way. We have a drone that we can incorporate periodically throughout the year. This year too, that's there. I showed Travis the thing I sent you, that Elgato Extreme Deck, to where you can play your music right at the touch of a button, maybe pre-programmed spots, things like that. So Everett Monroe asked a question on here, and I know who he is, but I'm not going to divulge who he is. Says, what kind of car is Dane building?
Yeah, I heard that too. I wanted to make sure it kind of cut out a little bit. I wanted to make sure that I heard that correctly, that he's actually getting a car.
I'm Chase Lockhart.
I'm building a big ass cheeseburger at Mr. Smith's. That's what I'm doing. I still have that desire, but at 74 years old, I think it's passed me up. So maybe I can hot lap a car like Jason did last year.
So let's just say, Dane, I don't believe that, and I'll tell you why I don't believe that. Fast Freddie Hay has got a few years on you, and he's still doing it. So that's not a true statement.
He's doing it very well. He's amazing.
Yes. Yeah. So let's kick off into the season at the racetrack. First of all, you're kicking off the season April 8th. I think you have 3 test and tunes scheduled March 18th. Oh, actually 2, March 18th and March 25th. But you kick off on April 8th, and it says you got IMCA modified, sport modifieds, dwarf cars, super force, and sport compacts. That's kind of that's an IMCA kicker, isn't it? That's just kick it off with the IMCA right off the bat.
It's my wife's birthday, I believe. So
There you go.
Yeah, so if you notice on our schedule this year, we always have conflicts like with trying to run the late models. You can't run the super forwards or late models because half of them drive both cars and you don't have trailers to pull both. And then we want to try to prep the track differently a little bit for the sprint cars and the late models and the big tire cars. So a lot of my shows this year are based on that. So you'll see a lot of them where when the sprint cars are running, the late models are running, probably the pro stocks or cars that are not going to be really affected by if the track is a little bit heavier. There's a few nights that probably overlap, but not bad.
So
the modified mods and them are always going to be, they're running a lot of nights together.
Well, in the IMCA modifieds and sport modifieds put on a great show. My wife, who took over the streaming, had never done this solo. She did it last weekend at last year at one of your big shows while we were in Watsonville. And we were down at Watsonville, and 2 hours later, we were still watching y'all run. I think y'all had 35 or 40 modifieds and 50 sport modifieds in the pits going for 2 nights. That was a great show that night. I was watching from down in Watsonville.
I think that might have been the Rayburn Melvin show. We had a pretty good car count that weekend.
Yep, I'm pretty sure that was when it was. So then I see on here, May 13th, you've got the 360 sprints and the Iron Giants. Then you got that's the limited sprints, the super late models, dwarf cars, outlaw pro stocks, and mini stocks that night. That's going to be a big night. I'm looking at that's going to be a big night with the sprint cars. The pro stocks always bring 12 to 16 cars with that Oregon Outlaw Pro Stocks. Your dwarf cars, they're 25 or 30 usually. The mini stocks, I got to tell you, I watched some of the mini stock races last year. Some of the best racing y'all had on the racetrack. I hate to say it, but they got after it.
With all the mini stocks?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I kind of wish we had a little bit more of them. We'll see what happens, but yeah, they do put on a good show. I mean, there used to be, back in the day, there used to be 30 of them showed up. Now we're getting, we're lucky if we get 8. So.
Yeah, well, and I noticed one of the things that stuck out on the schedule, and we talked about a little bit before we went on air. Just about every month, y'all take one Saturday a month off for various things. I see you got the 1,000-yard shooting range that they're going to be shooting from 140 across the racetrack all the way over there, so you can't be over there while bullets are flying, clearly.
Correct.
But then you have another. Yep. And then the next one, I think you have the Expo Center's got something going on y'all are shut down for. So y'all, looks like y'all kind of rolled in everybody to have some home time with their family, too, on the weekends. That way each month. I think that's kind of a cool idea.
Yeah, we didn't, we don't want to race. We love racing, but we got to have some weekends off. We do have, we're I lease the property from the county. So, I do have obligations not to run against fair. But then, we know that the fair has a couple big shows this year. Mm-hmm. I don't think we can say what they are yet. But it's not smart for me to run against them because, if they get a big show namer coming in, I'm going to be fighting trying to get a crowd, so it'd be better just to not run and let the people go to the expo and watch a good show.
Well, and something else that you've done this year too, and we as racers, we all want to celebrate drivers that have that we've lost along the way. Some names that stick out is Rocky Nash, Brian Hammond, Dwayne Melvin, Bruce Rayburn, Roger Hodenshield. Y'all kind of did something really cool, and it's coming up on the weekend of May 27th and 28th. Tell us your idea behind that weekend and everything that's going on with that.
Come on.
We lost Travis's sound.
Oh, Dane's frozen.
There you go.
And we're like right by each other too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we always have all these. We had Hog Show, the Rocky Nash, and our Charles and stuff. We figured Memorial Weekend would be a great weekend for a lot of our drivers that have passed. We just lost Tom Wyatt last year, and there's a lot of other drivers. There was a pro stock driver that passed away at the track.
That's Brian Hammond. Brian Hammond.
Yeah, and we don't talk about him. So, the theme for the Memorial Cup it's going to be based around the outlaw pro stocks, and we got the modified, sport modified, both types. But we want to honor, for the whole weekend, we kind of want to honor all of our past drivers. Obviously later on in the season, and that's that's their most recent ones that passed, and then very popular drivers. Not that nobody wasn't, but that's why they have their own race still. But eventually that race will probably, even with the summer memorials
Every
all
week.
the time.
Yeah.
Am I dying again?
No, you're there.
Yeah.
We love memorial races, but people don't want to come to the racetrack for a funeral. They want to come for racing. So we kind of want to be careful with why we do these races, and we want to honor these people. Obviously, like the R. Charles is a huge race. The Melbourne and Rayburn's turning into a big race because it's a 5,500 to win for the modifieds, and it's hopefully gets us a good show this year.
Right.
But yeah, so anyways, the Memorial Cup is based for that purpose, and we want to try to get. And I'm hoping people, send us messages and ask us to honor their husband or their dad or somebody they knew that passed away, so we can actually get their info and put it up there.
Right, and that's something that we all do. I'm kind of bummed with the Tri-State this year because the Tri-State schedule always started with the kind of the Geyer race down in Wairika with the things that are going on in Wairika. We're not going to have that race this year, so hopefully we can put his name out there with the Memorial Cup that weekend as well as a seller. So that was just one that we kept going as a tradition. That's one that Arlen Heath and John Bowers started, and that's kind of what started the idea of the Tri-State Pro Stock Series. So that's why it's kind of tough to not see it on the schedule this year. Something else that stuck out on the fastest week or whatever in the West, I don't know what all it's called with the sprint car tours. You got the NARC 410s returning.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that, because I know that was a very good show last year. You got limited sprints, mini stocks, and the NARC 410 sprint cars that weekend.
Correct.
So,
the NARC 410s, they put on a great show. They're good to deal with. So hopefully this year we can, keep that rhythm going with them and, provide them a good track and put on a good show. It's on a Thursday night, so sometimes those are tough in the weeks, but, last year it was in the middle of the week, and we had a good fan count that people loved them.
Yeah, and then
why not run the limited sprints with them and have a lot of sprint cars running? And, obviously we need another support class, so we picked the mini stocks.
Yeah, somebody just posted up, love the sprints. And then you have IMCA Speed Week, Mr. Dizzy Motorsports Stuntman.
I love how you call it IMCA. Yeah, so we are
IMCA. So let me clarify, IMCA.
We are the kickoff this year for the IMCA Speed Week, which is going to be really great. Hopefully we get it off, because last year it rained out, and it was the first year we would have had stock cars on the track, and we've been wanting to get stock cars. And yeah, we Portland at Warpa. He's got a jarhead like me, and they blow themselves up and jump school buses and stuff, and so I'm like, I gotta have you. So he's actually going to come to us on Saturday, and then I think Willamette's Sunday or Monday. So he's going to go there and do a stunt there. So we don't know what he's doing yet. We can't really divulge that. We won't tell anybody anyway if we do it. So
right,
we're going to find out.
Well, I've been privy to a lot of the discussion off air, and it's. I don't keep secrets well, so I kept my mouth shut. But you happen to know some stuff that we're working on too that we can't get into either. So IMCA Speed Weeks, I noticed that Coos Bay actually has 2 dates this year. They're the only track that has 2 days during that Speed Week this year, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know. I'd have to check their schedule.
Yeah. So, yeah, for everybody that doesn't know, IMCA Speed Weeks, you've got Southern Oregon Speedway, Cottage Grove, Willamette Speedway, I want to say Sunset, and Coos Bay. And that's just it's IMCA week. You got this year, I think it's going to be modified, sport modifieds, and stock cars all week, correct?
Correct. I think Elma too, though, right? I've never won Elma.
I don't know. I don't know where Elma is. I'm horrible. I don't know where Elma is. So, but
Elma's up there.
Yeah, it's way up there. I know it's up there. I just don't know where it is.
Go across the river from Portland and turn and head to Hawaii.
Yeah, it's
Go
up
towards
there.
Aberdeen.
Okay, I know where Aberdeen is, so we're good.
Then go that way.
Yeah.
So I know South. I believe Elma and Roseburg are on Speed Week also. That's from Trevor Tippy. See, y'all know more than I do. I didn't see the whole schedule. We're kind of in a weird spot. Some schedules are out, some aren't, so I'm not sure all that. And honestly, I didn't look too far past Southern Oregon Speedway because we're talking about Southern Oregon Speedway tonight. So the focus is on here.
Yeah, Travis has worked pretty hard on getting our schedule out. So,
well, and there's
some
something
tracks have them out. I think there's still a few tracks that are trying to get them done. But I know that like they're busy and they got a lot going on. So,
yeah. Well, as always,
schedule yet. I haven't seen the Lamets yet.
Yeah. Well, we talk all the time on the show about sponsors and things like that, and I have to take a quick sponsor break, so give me 1 second. Thank you, Jerry Bryant of Jay's Mobile Welding and Fabrication, for all you do to support the Tri-State Pro Stock Series and myself. Jay is the title sponsor this year for the Tri-State Pro Stock Series. Jay owns a welding and fabrication business in Sacramento, California, can do all kinds of welding. If you need some welding repairs done on your car at the track, he usually has a welder available in his track. He also provides sheet metal erasers, so if you need any of these services, contact Jay at Jay's Mobile Welding and Fabrication. Yeah, Jason knows I've been working on voiceover stuff on the background. I cringe to go back. I got to re-record all those. They're bad now as I go back and listen to them. Wow. So,
all right. So IMCA Speed Week.
Okay.
It starts off at us June 17th, and then they go to Coos Bay for 2 days, the 18th and the 19th. Then the 20th, they go to Roseburg. Then they go to Cottage Grove on the 21st. And then they go to Willamette, Grace Harbor on the 23rd, and on the 24th, they end at Sunset Speedway.
Okay. Well, see, there you go, everybody. There's the schedule. He's got the whole thing in front of him because he's been working with every one of the promoters. And I know he's been working with them. We talked about it. And I honestly, from what we saw out of the California things at Reno and what I seen out at Warpa, I really feel like that the promoters this year have emphasized a ton on working with other tracks to bring more unity and work with each other, to not schedule over the top of each other. And I'm telling you, as an outside looking in, attending all these things, what I've seen, and I think everybody's taking it to heart with drivers saying, hey, you need to work together. Promoters need to work together so you don't have to do all that stuff. And you're talking about it tonight. I think you worked with every track out here to make sure that everybody's stayed off each other.
That was really my agenda to go to Warpa. And I was very proud of everybody. I was really stoked that everybody was willing to, listen to we kind of got together and try to deal with, everybody has big shows. So
right.
Our goal this year was, don't step on our big show. I'm not going to step on yours. Don't step on mine. Heather Boyce actually did a great thing. I don't know if Jeremy Means helped her out, but I know he's been a big help on it. So we've got this new series called Best of West. Mm-hmm. Best of the West. So what it is all the tracks got together. I think we're still waiting on Willamette. I hope Willamette joins. We all picked a big late model, sport mod show and a modified show. So every track has one, one of each.
Right.
So if the drivers are willing, and they hopefully do, they'll come down here for the R. Charles. They'll go to Cottage Grove for Freedom Cup. They'll go to Elma for their big race, Mod Nationals. Sunset has theirs. It's gonna be a point series. There's gonna be money funded for the end. We're gonna have big trophies made. I don't know if I cut out or didn't cut out. Am I okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But yeah, so we've all worked together. So everybody so far, all the way up to Skagit. The Skagit's part of this. Nobody is running on anybody's big shows this year, which is awesome. We're running the R. Charles. Nobody's running sport mods and modifieds, and others run the Freedom Cup.
Yeah, Travis is kind of broke up a little bit.
Oh, sorry. Everybody's going to say that everybody worked really good together, not to run the same classes when somebody's trying to put on a big show.
Yeah. So Blaine Corey asked a question, which we did put out. This is going to be question and answer. So I'm going to read off Blaine's question, and we will ask y'all as the promotion team at Southern Oregon Speedway, any potential of World of Outlaws stopping at SOS in the future? I'm sure it costs a ton of money, but they go right through after Elma, and it's a 3-day gap before Chico. Even on a weeknight, it seems like the whole town would show up to watch. Has there been any talk about trying to get them to stop?
Ready to step up and sponsor us, but other than that, we're good. No, we have been. We really love to. When we get our facility the way we want it, because they have, World Outlaws really actually wants certain things in your racetrack.
Yep.
We're not quite there, and we're getting stronger in the with how we're doing things, and our goal is, yes, we would love to have World Outlaws within 5 years.
Yep.
Of our first 5 years.
Well, and Blaine, I'm gonna get into this a little bit because I've been privy to some other conversations going on. I know that part of the West Coast swing they canceled out this year due to the High Limit Series being out here too. I don't know how the High Limit Series and the World of Outlaws are going to work together in the future. We're starting to see some concessions from World of Outlaws. That will be a big factor moving into the future too. So I want to put that out there, and that has nothing whatsoever to do with Southern Oregon Speedway. So that's become a very contentious issue that we've heard about over and over, and I don't know what the ultimate goal outcome of that will be. I will tell y'all that NARC 410 Sprint Car show is equal to or better than a World of Outlaw shows, in my honest opinion. And I happen to see the one at Stockton Dirt Track, and I've seen the NARC 410 shows. I would rather go to a NARC 410 show than I had a World of Outlaw show. That's just my 2 cents worth, and it doesn't really mean anything. So
World Outlaws has a lot of
demands.
You throw a World Outlaws fan, our facility wouldn't even hold the people that are coming. Back in the day when Skinner did have it, and somehow he had the capability of renting other bleachers, plus the grassy knoll was open, which we will eventually have, but we got to raise it up and stuff. But yeah, there's potential for us to have them eventually. And our 410s are awesome. I think I heard some of their drivers would love to come to our facility more than once. So maybe next year, we meet them, we'll talk to them at Warpa and see if we can entertain them more than once next year.
Yep. Somebody posted on there, Douglas County World of Outlaws seems more likely with seating capacity and limited stops out west. Okay, that goes hand in hand with what Travis just said, that their facility with it being in the asphalt, maybe until y'all build up and get the stuff set the way you want it, that may be something in the future. It's not, it is what it is. So I'm going to ask you a question as having been to Southern Oregon. Do y'all still have the grassy knoll open up there? I didn't pay attention at all this summer.
So the first year it was destroyed, but then we got the sprinklers fixed. We kind of opened it up for the kids to go play. You can't sit in it and see the stills, because when we reconfigured the track and actually shaped it correctly, we really we race 1 2 7 feet, and you can't see over the wall. So yes, we have a plan in mind. Obviously, it's going to take a lot of funds and time, to do, but we're working on literally building that thing up
Right.
way in the air. And by the time it's done, it'll hold another 1,000 people.
But I just had to ask because I remember that when I first started going there and then came back, I on race day now it's got so busy I don't ever see what's going on outside the window. I got tunnel vision and it's hard to see what all's going on. And Chris Mick says hopefully the rain stays away and we can get even more NARC cars to show up. Absolutely, Chris. And I am going to ask the question that you messaged me last night to ask. I'm going to ask it now. Do you have an idea when your awards banquet is going to be this year?
I'm not asking that for Chris because he keeps asking me. Yeah, no. So our plan, we're gonna have it no later than the end of February. Right now, we're trying to find a venue because we had a pretty good one at Eagle Point, but they don't let us serve alcohol, and half our drivers, 90% of our drivers, obviously would love to have something sort of beverage. But the expo is our next option, but it's very spendy, so we're trying to figure it out. But we will have it by the end of February.
Yeah.
We got Chris's trophy in my garage, so it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, Chris, I just want you to know I didn't forget about you. You messaged me off air last night, and I asked a question for you. Somebody just come in, and I don't see everybody's name on here, but it says I joined late and may have missed it. But is there going to be a car show this year? I think this past year was awesome with the cars downtown. Watching Nick Berryhill rolling down the street was so awesome.
Yeah, Nick Berryhill drove that thing. I don't know how many blocks. I never did tell him. I actually did get a phone call on that one, but that's all right. I don't know. I mean, we do want to have a car show. I don't know where it'll be this year. I mean, it might even be at the racetrack.
Right.
We may even have one at the, last year I talked to Justin at the drag strip about maybe having one with him with his drag car at the drag strip. So we don't, yeah. So obviously that's a plan that's in the agenda to start working on. And the city's kind of not hard, but I mean, there's a lot of work on that because we got to do we got to plan street closures, we got to get permits, we got to, there's a lot of things to do just to have a big event on Main Street.
Yep. So there, like I said, I don't see whose name was on there, so I apologize. It just shows up Facebook user. That's all I see. So I apologize for not having the name on that one. Otherwise, I would address you by name. So, all right. Anybody else has got questions that's listening in and out, drop it in the comments. We'll ask the staff. This is your chance to ask them. They're here to answer your questions. So, Dane, I want to get into your career. Tell us a little bit about your career. You've been awful quiet down there. We want to hear from you now.
Well, there was not much to it, really. I played football in college, an old duck, came home, and somehow I got stumbled into driving a guy's car one night out at the racetrack, and that started it. And so I started racing in, I think, 1971 at the old Posse grounds, and I raced up until probably 2016 or so, somewhere around then. I raced asphalt. I raced dirt. I raced in Florida. I raced down by the Mexican border. I raced against Scott Bloomquist. So, I did a lot, and I met a lot of great people. I spent a lot of money. I won a lot of races, and I learned a long time ago to have better equipment than everybody else, and that helps. So I've had a lot of help, and I loved it, and I've met so many great people in the racing world. It's been a fun ride.
Yeah, that was Zach Nelson that asked about the car show, by the way. And Jake told me that the old I-5 Bandit. He called Dane's the old I-5 Bandit.
We have a bounty at about every racetrack on the West Coast. They have a bounty on his head.
Yeah. Now somebody says Dane's favorite driver that was local, and where was your biggest win?
Oh boy, geez, I don't know. I can't remember. I won a big race at Skagit. I won a lot of races out at the old racetrack, and they were all, and Chico, I would say I won Chico, I think 4 years in a row, and that's where Scott Bloomquist first showed up. So I love Chico. That was probably my favorite racetrack.
So Dane is on here talking trash about Scott Bloomquist. He says, you come to Chico and I whooped your ass. How about that?
That's it.
I just had to pick on that. Pete Bound asked, is there any major rule changes in the classes? That's way too open to talk to. That's just something you might message the track off air. I know there's a couple of things that have been mentioned that we've talked about off air with Travis, but we could spend an hour talking about that, and that just opens up Pandora's box that we can't cover right here.
There's a few rules changed, nothing major. I mean, we did some rule changes for the Super Fords to kind of build up a little more and hopefully get some more cars.
Pete's probably talking about late.
Yeah, I would assume Pete's.
He has a late model. It's one of my old late models. So I'm not sure
yet.
yet.
Late model rules we're waiting on. We're kind of waiting on the limit, and so we're trying. That was the thing that happened this year too. Is we're all really trying to work on keeping the rules the same between tracks. So I think Brian Bowman is our late model guru. He worked with Corey on trying to make sure that we got the rules up to date. I mean, the biggest thing with late models is the new tire rule. Kind of falls in with the Super Fords. I got to change the Super Fords a little bit. But basically, they run the same late model tire. Hoosiers did a huge change now where they're only making 4 tires, a 1, 2, 3, and a 4. All those tracks are basically agreed to run the 1 tire, but we're going to let these guys run out their tires they've got now, and then they'll eventually just go to that 1 tire.
Right. So I want to get back to the schedule since you just brought up the late models. The next one that was up there on the list is June 24th. You have the first visit from the Coors Light Silver Bullet Series.
Correct.
Can you tell us a little bit about that, how that came about? And that's going to lead into a question I was told to ask tonight, and I'll let you tell us about it, and then I'm going to ask the question.
Okay, so that's kind of a Corey Penfield, Moxie Media. He's got a deal worked out for the Coors Light Silver Bullet Series. We're doing I think two races at Delma, Willamette, Roseburg, and us. And we've got big. Basically, every race is 2,000 win, 200 start. There's Corey hasn't posted yet, so I don't want to say it, but there's potential for big money for somebody that could actually maybe win every race, or a decent money for the guy that wins the most races.
Yep. So now the question I have for you is, are they going to allow a run out on the older late model tires? And you kind of answered the question, but I'm asking anyway. Are they planning on going to the national late model tire to kick it off? Have y'all heard or talked about it?
As far as I let the cars run what they've got until those run out, and then these new LM40s or whatever Hoosiers making is going to be the only tire available.
Yep. So, and I'm going to expound on that because I'm the one that brought this to Travis's attention last night. We are already dealing with it with our series. The 1300s, the 1400s, the 1600s, the D55s, those are all gone. Hoosier's not making them anymore. Lucas Oil late models and the XR late models series got together. They bought Hoosier molds for a late model tire. They paid for the molds. They are going to make 4 late model tires next year. There's going to be NLMT1, NLMT2, 3, and 4. The 1 and 2s are going to be the soft compounds. The 3 is going to be designed for your right front tire, and the 4 is going to be a right rear tire with the harder compound. Their goal is to produce more tires in the tire shortage and lower the price of a late model tire. They didn't have to buy the molds so they can sell them cheaper. where every other tire at Hoosier's going up, the National late model tires are going to be cheaper. So late models, you're getting a little bit of a break, and they said it would be about 12 to 15% decrease on the late model tire cost. So that I knew what the answer was. I just wanted to ask that question because I was told to ask you, so I did.
Well, I'm still confused on the Hoosier deal because the last I was told, yes, they're making 4 compounds, soft, too hard. The hard,
Yep.
Each compound was going to have sizes for all 4 tires.
Right.
It could change because I mean we were all basically all agreed that we were going to go with the 4, and the 4 they would be able to get in any size for a left side or a right side.
Yeah.
But they're equivalent to, according to like talking to Rick Rapp today, they're LM40, which is equivalent. It's the same as a D55. That's why we're still paying D55. But I do need to change that out to the Super 4 and not really put D55s and just spell it out how it is.
Yeah. Somebody said, I can't remember Dane ever wrecking a car. What was your worst wreck, Dane?
Yeah, he always wrecked Rayburn.
Yeah. Travis was a Rayburn guy, and so I didn't know that for years. But my worst wreck, Eureka! I had the whole left front taken off, and it wasn't that bad. I didn't crash very often, so I usually was pretty clean racing. So
yeah. If you find Travis Hoppus on his Facebook page, he shared a race at Dane Racing. Y'all need to go back and watch him. You'll see what I'm talking about. I don't think you touched anybody. I think you touched Bruce's bumper one time, and it was very lightly as you were standing on the brakes because the guy in front of him got sideways. It wasn't. It was very light contact. Your car looked just like it did when you rolled on.
Yeah. Well, he gave me a bad time because I had 2-way radios going, and my pitman, Vern Gilmore, who was a master mechanic. That's the reason I won a lot of races. He would be on the radio, and he was nervous all the time, so he'd just talk constantly. And I never heard him. I never told him. I never heard him except when it was on a yellow flag.
Yeah.
And, but he talked and talked and talked. So anyway.
I just had a kick out of it because he's like, one lap he's like, hey, you got about a 6-car pace, so take it easy. And then they got into lap traffic and they came around 1-2. He's like, Rayburn's on your ass, you better get going.
Yeah, I was laughing at it too. So that's why I said y'all got to watch that because you'll see some great racing, but it was very, very respectful and clean from what we saw. It was
such a narrow track.
Yeah.
I never realized.
Oh yeah.
Going there and watching it now.
Yeah.
They get 3 wide. One was touching wall. One was out in the grass. So it was like there wasn't much room.
No.
Yeah.
No.
All right. So Travis Perry just mentioned it's awesome you have a 2-day stock car show. That leads us up into the next up is July 1st and 2nd. That's the Firecracker 50s. Tell us a little bit about that weekend.
So the 4th of July last year was our Charles, but it seemed to be either too close to Speed Week. We had September; it was too close to Boone. So this year we decided to go to our Charles the 7th and 8th. I originally had the Northwest Focus Midgets coming for my 4th of July, for the 1st and 2nd, but unfortunately their schedule didn't work out. So I was scrambling, made some calls, emails. Nobody was running stock cars. So I'm like, I'm going to bring back the Firecracker 50. I really actually don't know what it was. I knew we used to have it. I don't know if it was a pro stock race, a modified race. I don't know what it was. But now it's going to be a new stock car race. Hopefully it kicks every year. So that's going to be our new fireworks. We got the best fireworks in Oregon. $2,500 to win for the stock cars. I added the 3.6 for the second night because they were available. Hopefully we could get a good card count from them. But everybody's been wanting us to do stock cars. We got, I think, 5 or 6 out shows this year, and hopefully we can keep adding or trying to do better for the future. But this will be our new 4th of July show for the stock cars.
Yep. And you got Outlaw Pro Stocks on both nights as well, too. So it's a 2-day show for the Outlaw Pro Stocks as well.
Yeah, I try to do a lot of our 2-day shows trying to do the same car because of our new format where, the first night's qualifiers, second night is the main events. But not always can I make that work. But pro stocks and the stock cars will kind of pretty much do that theory that night. And then we've got the Super Ford and mini stocks Saturday night. And then we get the sport compacts and 360 sprints on Sunday. So.
Right. Now, you had that great Firecracker 50 on the 1st and 2nd, and then you're back on the 7th and 8th for another 2-day show. And this has kind of become, I want to say, the Southern Oregon's signature race. It's the R. Charles Snyder Salute, which R. Charles Snyder was a longtime track announcer, longtime morning DJ person in the Medford area, the father of Travis Snyder, who we mentioned on the board over there again. Tell us about the R. Charles this year, because I know last year it was 7,007 to win, 707 to start. Tell us what your plans are for the R. Charles going into 2023.
So this year, I might piss some people off, and I want to tell them right now, it's not intentional. R. Charles Snyder was a good friend of mine. Travis Snyder is my best friend. This race is about honoring him. We've done everything I think possibly could do. We've had advertising with IMCA magazine. $7,000 to win should bring a lot of cars. Last year we had 28 mods show up, and I don't know why. So the year before was about the same car count. Last year we didn't get the sport mods involved because we made a deal with Heather. She kept the mods off. We gave her the sport mods for her freedom cut. So sadly, it's exciting, but I'm sorry, modifieds. I love you guys, but this year the sport mods are racing for $7,000. It's going to be the biggest sport mod race. Almost not quite in the United States, but it's going to be huge. I guarantee you, we're going to get a lot of cars.
Yeah,
modified to be racing 2007. But they're really nowadays, the way I'm figuring this, their big race now is the Rayburn coming up in a month or two. So hopefully I don't piss off too many modified drivers. But we need to put on a show for our Charles, and 28 cars is not cutting it for us.
So I want to go on this, and everybody reach down and hit the share button on this post, please. If you're watching this show, hit share this post. We need to broadcast this to every single person on the West Coast. Only one track that I know of on the West Coast right now is running sport mods that weekend, and that is Antioch. Bakersfield's not running. Merced's not running. Marysville's not running. Watsonville's not running. There is no reason that everybody... Sport mods, you got an opportunity to put on a marquee event to stand up and promote your class of cars. You just heard it. 7,007 to win for your sport mod race at the R. Charles Snyder. And if I'm not mistaken, is it 707 to start this year as well? 707 to start. Sport mods, you always ask for it. You got it. And is it going to be, I was just asked, is it going to be IMCA sanctioned?
Somebody asked me that about if I made it open, I would really make a cool show, but it would really affect a lot of our local guys. I mean, I'm not that cold-hearted yet. I mean, I really want to put on a great show for the fans, but if I made it open, a lot of our local sport mod drivers would they'd be upset, and I don't want to do that.
Right. So now modifieds, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know what he's paying for you for that weekend, but I promise you won't have your feelings hurt too bad. You're just not racing for 7,000 to win that weekend.
Yeah, they're racing for 3,007, and I think it's 200 star or 250. I can't remember what I got. It'll be decent.
You're still going to have a good weekend. We're just trying to bring a large car count to celebrate somebody that did so much for racing at Wairika and Medford during his time on this earth. So it's time to celebrate him, and it's time to bring the sport mods in. And everybody asked for it. You got it. So I had to ask, and I know you were dreading that. So we talked about it for a week now, and I hadn't been able to say anything.
It's a tough decision because I love my modified guys, but like I said, it's a prestigious race, and it's got to pull cars. I mean, when it was in Lon Skinner, it used to be 10 grand to win, then he lowered to 5. But I mean, that thing used to bring, 70 modified.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny. I talked to Travis last night. We were kind of going over a game plan of how we were going to do the show tonight and things to talk about specifically. And I asked him, "Did you come to a decision?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Good. Don't tell me. I want to know live on the air." I didn't know what the answer was till just now. So y'all learned right when I learned. So there you go. But I told him, "Don't tell me. I don't want to know." So yes, the our Charles race is July 7th and 8th. It's going to be IMCA modifieds, IMCA sport modifieds. Our stock cars on that weekend too. I didn't look. Super fours. So there you go. You got 2 nights of great racing. You're going to see cars from all over. We're going to do everything we can to announce it all over. I'm going to put it through as many outlets as I know how to reach out to you. So you're going to see a lot more of me, and you're going to see a lot more of Stephen Blakesley over this next year promoting all this stuff and trying to get the word out through all of our avenues. So stay tuned for that. Then you're back. The fair is the week of the 15th, so there's no racing there. You're back with another Coors Light Silver Bullet Series on the 22nd of July. Then July 28th and 29th, the dwarf cars are headlining the events. That's the Bigfoot. So I didn't ask last year. I felt I'd seemed like I was kind of stupid for asking, so I'm going to ask now. Why is it called the Bigfoot race?
Actually, I don't know if it was Jim Nelson or if it was Jason Robustelli that came up with that name. I think it was Jason. You would really have to ask them, and I actually never asked him that. But yes, last year was a one-day show. We had the fire the same day that we had to close the track and then reopen the track. So it wasn't the best show. A lot of the drivers told us that if we did a 2-day show, they'd more cars would show. And I'm hoping so because, Jim Nelson and Travis Weidman are putting up big money for this race for the top 7 cars. And I hope that we get some dwarf cars to show up and respect that first. I mean, was it 5,000 to win?
Yep.
I mean, that is the biggest dwarf car race in the United States.
Yes, I was going to say, and I got to tell you, we filmed it last year. That was some insane racing. We were talking about Freddie Hay earlier. He put on the show. Cameron Robustelli's always fast. And the guy that won, I think, started dead last in the main event, raced his way in from the B main and won from dead last in the main event on the second night, if I remember correct. I can't remember the name.
I think he blew his motor too.
Yeah, he blew his motor right at the last.
Yeah, and I only say that because me and Jason were up there. I was like, dude, look at where he's at already. And we were set up there. I tried not to aggravate Jason too much while he's announcing and keep quiet over there. So I'm writing him little notes saying, hey, check this out. But yeah, now, Jason, I'm going to ask you on behalf of my wife, she may not can hear me right now. Do you have your song in queue to play when the cars spin out next year?
Yeah, well, I'm ready.
It's kind of an inside joke between me and Jason, but he finally picked out a song, and every time there'd be like a few incidents, one right after another, he had a song that he played right there. So maybe we'll make that.
Right about the time we get irritated from the third spin, we fire it up. So
yep.
we might just start from the first spin this time. I'll have it ready to go. And if you don't know, then you have to come out to the Speedway and find out.
Yes, because you won't be disappointed. So then you're closed August 5th. That's for the big show at the Expo Center that we mentioned. Then it looks like it's regular racing the weekend of the August 12th with limited sprints, IMCA Sport Modifieds, that. Then we go into the 2-day weekend of August 18th and 19th. Modified drivers, listen, this is the Rayburn Melvin Challenge. Tell us a little bit about this race, Travis or Dane, whichever one that wants to talk.
What?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so this is actually a combined race. Last year we did 2 separate shows. This will be, basically a combined race. Friday night will be qualifiers. We've got the same 3 classes: modified, sport mod, stock car. Modifieds will be running for a minimum of 5,500 to win. I don't remember what I had for start. And then I know the sport mods are racing for like 3,000 to win. Stock cars, probably going to be another pretty good show for them. I'm trying to get the stock cars a couple of boom qualifiers, so it'll be a decent purse for them.
So that I think that's about 4 weekends that we're going to see the three IMCA classes on there. You got the stock cars, sport modifieds, and modifieds all together, as I've heard it called, the IMCA trifecta, I guess is the best way to call it.
Definitely going to be a good show for fans. I mean, those are 3 classes that are really fun to watch.
Right. And then we go into August 24th, you got the Western 360 Sprint Car Tour. So we got sprint car backs. What is the 360 Sprint Car Tour?
So that's the one that Heather puts on. It was actually moved up, but there was some conflicts, I think. So there's going to be a Northern 360 Sprint Week, and then there's going to be a Southern 360 Sprint Week. So this one here, hopefully it'll be a good show because they're starting basically in Cottage Grove. I think they're going to go to, Roseburg. But they're going to end up in Placerville and Chico. So we're hoping, we're working with Chico and them. We're going to get a lot of Chico cars and Placerville cars.
That's awesome. The Tri-State's actually hitting Chico for the first time this year. That's why when Dane was talking about it, I have not ever been to Chico Speedway, so this will be the first year.
It's awesome.
So, yeah, to hear you say that was a great track, I'm looking forward to it even more now because, like I said, I have never seen it. So, then you're closed for Labor Day. Then we're back to wingless sprints. Now, that's 2 days, September 8th and 9th. That's kind of a wingless weekend, it looks like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll get the wingless sprints back. That's always a great show. The guys are great to deal with.
I think they're the other sprints, the wingless I think they put on the best show.
They look like they're a lot harder to drive. Looks like that wing maybe helps out quite a bit.
Yeah.
Wings just throw them around the corner. These guys are just drifting all the way around. It's fun to watch.
Well, if
Scary
Jerry,
for me, though. I kid you not, as a promoter, I'm scared every time the sprint cars go out because, they didn't get time somebody to just take a flying ride.
Well, if Jerry Bartlett's listening, I used to pick on him because he bragged about his wing on his pro stock car that they raced out at Marysville. Called them fairy wings, so I probably could get beat up for saying it, but whatever. So, all right, so 15th and the 16th, you got the IHS sprint cars, and that is also championship nights, it looks like. Is that your final points races that weekend?
Yeah, I had to move them back because IMCA basically ends IMCA points middle of September, so the end of September. So, yeah, so Dave Hibbert, they got the IMCA sprints. They're racing pretty far. They're racing up and down the West Coast this year. Got some good shows. Yeah, that'll be a good 2-day show. But we'll also do our championship nights for all the other classes on those nights.
Yep. So we've had the same question twice, so I'm going to ask it. Have y'all decided who the race director is going to be this year? That question's came up twice, so I'm going to ask.
Yes, but I haven't disclosed it yet.
Okay, yeah, stay tuned. That announcement will come out. They picked it. It's not for public release just yet. So
just know there's been a lot of changes made over the winter.
Yes. So, and I'm not going to get into that. You can talk about any of that when we get done if you want to. But then you've got September 23rd and the 30th. September 23rd is the Topless 50. I know what topless is. You're going to have cars running without tops on them, clearly, without roofs. Tell us a little bit about that weekend.
Jason's going to be topless that weekend.
Yeah.
No, basically, I just try to come up with a couple fun races on the last 2 shows before we open up October for hopefully monster trucks and tough trucks. But so basically, topless 50. We'll have good money up for these races. The cars all have to take their roofs off, their sail panels. So I figured those 4 classes would be the best ones to pick.
Right, and on that weekend, you got super lates, IMCA modifieds, IMCA sport modifieds, and super 4s. So,
right.
All right, and to finish up the season, September 30th, it's no points night. You're going to have a powder puff weekend and a pitman's race. I know everybody. I get a lot of messages on the backside of Southern Oregon Speedway that I don't ever answer. This is one that's always asked. I see it at least once a week. When are you going to have a pitman's race? Are you going to do a powder puff? So tell us.
Yeah, we didn't do it last year, and I kind of felt bad. So I figured once I had to move the championship nights up, because they were on the 23rd and 30th. But I also, had modifieds to move to Skagit for their Drive for 5 big race. So I was like, they can't be points races, so let's just have some fun. We'll run the sprints that night, the modifieds, sport mods, pro stocks, and then the sport compacts. And then at the end of the night, basically at the end, we'll open it up for, all the women that want to drive and any pitmen that want to go out and race. They're just like 10-lap races. So I think I'm going to win the powder puff race this year, though, because I'm not identified as a woman. And probably spit Valerie to their biddy out and win the race. So.
Are we going to see Travis in a skirt for that? That's all. I will take pictures of that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'll see me in a skirt, but I might wear a wig.
Oh, so somebody said there was a wing modified at SOS for a couple of seasons. I missed those. I didn't see those. So, and then October is for deer season. LOL. Then somebody said wing modifieds were god awful. And then somebody said, I agree. I'm assuming that's a Keith that said wing mods were god awful. So
that was a long story. That was a schooner versus sprint car deal.
Yeah.
We did, not last year, but the year before, we did do that no rules thing where guys were putting sail panels on the cars, and it was fun night.
Yep.
So down with 40-foot panels and kicked everybody's butt in the sport mod.
Yep. So Mike Cummins asked, are you going to up your game on the pit food for the bigger shows?
I don't know what that means, but I thought we had pretty good food in the pits. Well, yes. I don't know if I should have told this, but we do have a good person or a good vendor that's going to be in the pits.
Stay tuned for the first race season, and we'll give you a report from the pits when we go there for the first race season. Speed Unit is going to be doing some stuff in the pits this year. Travis Peary says more vendors. Travis, I've actually talked to the other Travis about some ideas with some potential sponsorships and things like that may, I don't know if they're going to go forward or not, but we talked about that, maybe doing a vendor row at some point. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but we talked about it.
Yeah, we kind of went the opposite this year. My board, we have vendors that we already went with, and at one time I was all about vendors and leasing out spaces, but because we don't control the food and stuff like that, we just get a percentage of their profit. If you have too many vendors, you spread the money out so far, nobody's making money. So you kind of need to limit it to who you got and protect them and have them be your servers.
When you come to the racetrack as a family, you only have so many discretionary dollars to spend. So, if you're splitting it with 5 different vendors, none of them are making very much. So we think cutting it back, having just a couple, because there's only so many dollars there, so that's kind of our thinking.
So, and I got to be honest with you, with the promoters workshop and working with Nassetti out of Stockton down there this year, there's a lot of things that go into putting on a race weekend that you don't know about unless you get in the promotion game. There's a lot of things you have to factor in. Car count, you have to factor in total purse you pay out for that night. y'all have to figure out how much beer you're going to sell and make sure you have plenty there so people aren't mad because you don't have beer. There's a lot of things that when you see a schedule come out for a racetrack, that it's not them just throwing some car classes on there and saying, hey, let's go race. There's a lot of work that goes into putting in a schedule and starting to plan for a race. And I didn't know about it until the last 2 years, I can assure you.
Yeah. Travis spends an enormous amount of time working on schedules. So it's not easy.
Still working on. I think I'm going to wait for Chris Mix to make his plans, and I'm going to change it again.
Yeah, Chris, he's got you in mind. Now, somebody asked, are you going to sell 32-ounce beers this year?
We cannot sell. It's not. There is an actual.
Right. There's rules with all the beer sales. I'm asking. It says, haha, thank you.
Hard alcohol. I would love to have it. We don't have
Yeah. So I'm going to ask are y'all going to bring the coffee truck that was there back, or a coffee truck?
On the colder nights it makes sense, but I don't know. They came out and then they just disappeared. So I don't think they'll be coming back. I mean, if we really want to do coffee, I'd probably have to get Greg or somebody to see what they can do about coffees in the mainstream.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you something. So I'm going to tell you, as a person who spent a lot of time at the track this summer and seen some things that y'all did, the one thing I saw that y'all did this year that was amazing was your cooling tents. If y'all haven't made it out to see the cooling tents at the track, let me tell you what it is. They went in and put some of the gazebo style tents up along the walkway in between where the beer stands, the restaurants, and all that are. They put some of the big porta coolers, those humongous ones that run off water, in there, and then they put misters over the top of them as well. So on the 100+ degree days, you can go in there, and it was about 22 to 26 degrees cooler inside that cooling tent. And I think that tells me how much y'all care about promoting the racetrack and building the racetrack, giving that as a place for fans to go to. I know Dane struggled with the heat one day down there. There was a couple of days that it was hella hot down there.
It can be. I mean, what people don't realize is, that's why the one year we, like 104 degrees, we called it. People are like, why are you calling it? Well, go up there with a thermostat or a heat gun and see how hot that concrete is on the steps. 150 degrees.
Yep.
Not pleasant. So, yeah, we got to be careful with the heat. We don't have good shade out there. So basically, yeah, we've decided we're going to provide 220 by 40 sections and put misters in them and try to keep an area for people to cool down.
Yeah.
Plus, we have the misters on the kids love my line misters. I got, one down by the men's bathroom and one down by the women's.
That's what somebody just posted up. Hands down, that was awesome. My kids loved it. So
especially when I open them up a little bit and they squirt water, the kids love that one. Yeah,
they got to play get a little wet, all that stuff. And and if you're a parent bringing young kids, having that opportunity to get out of the heat and do all that stuff, that's huge. And that's just something I noticed as somebody that was there and saw that. And before the races, I'd go down there and hang out underneath there just to feel better, because it was hot. There was a couple of days that were miserable, and I'm kind of fat and out of shape, so it's kind of helpful. So Jason just took to riding his bicycle back and forth to the racetrack all summer. He got it all cleaned up. So somebody asked, will the grass area come back? If you missed it earlier, they were talking about they're working at building it back up. You can go back and listen to the question. I asked that question specifically. What is the number one thing that what is y'all's number one goal to change this year from what you've done last year? I mean, everybody's seen the progress y'all are making, but what are you looking to see specifically from last year to this year?
Like as far as the racing program?
Overall, whatever the big, everybody kind of has a mission statement. I guess what your mission is for this year, specifically as the board.
And entertainment. I mean, we are entertainers. I don't really even call ourselves promoters. We are entertainers to put on a show for the fans. As far as work goes, our next project is we're getting ready to kick off the new bathroom in the pits. We got to move it because we had problems with tying on where we were going to go. So now we're building one. We're kind of sharing with the motocross track. And, it'll have showers and a lot more stalls. So hopefully it'll be done somewhere around the start of the season or somewhere close to it.
Yeah. Somebody asked, do you have any plans on running any destruction derbies?
No. Our insurance company said don't do it.
Yep.
But there is talk.
And that's
talk about, you blame this on Brian Bowman. I told him I'm not cleaning up the mess. But he just showed me a link about this boat racing deal where they're dragging boats and you got to knock your boats off. And I think that might be pretty fun.
They did that at Anderson on the asphalt.
Yeah, they still do it. They're still doing it at Roseville, and they do the cops and robbers and all that. There's a lot of things that are really cool. And Antioch brought the figure 8 back last year. I've never seen one of those in person. So
yeah, that's in Australia.
I'm
more interested in what Jason's going to do for songs. I'm hoping he does like Baby Shark for when Mark Woggy comes out or something like that. That's what I'm hoping for. But.
Yeah. So I'm going to say Speed Union is going to be setting up some places out in the pits this year. We're going to try to put it there. Guys, if you're a driver and you have sponsors on your car, you need to stop by. We're going to try to do interviews for all the drivers, just short interviews. We're going to use that to fill up dead air during things that are going on the racetrack and all this stuff. We're going to try to do driver intros, things like this. Guys, we're doing this for you. Your sponsors are going to get that opportunity to have their name on the live stream. That is what you go to them each year and ask for that money for, is to promote their business. We're here to promote their businesses. You need to stop by and do it. I don't care how shy you are. I don't care how much you hate talking in front of a camera. I got a face for radio. But I'm on here talking every week. It's not, I promise you, it's 5 minutes. It's not hard. It's not. Travis hates getting on here and talking, but he has fun. He doesn't realize we've already done an hour and a half tonight.
Yeah. No, I think all the drivers, I'm going to tell you all right now, pay attention because Uncle Travis is going to tell you something right now. We tried doing this last year and none of you guys did this. Roy is all about trying to promote you and your sponsors on pay-per-view. Last year, we asked you guys to do a 10-second blog about who you are, what you're driving. It would have been a theme like the NFL when they're throwing the starting lineup when the A-main comes out. Roy's going to be set up in the pits. When you guys come in and you check in, find him, give him an interview, put yourself and your sponsors on pay-per-view.
It may not be me that's doing interviews. We had Samantha Church did interviews. Bree Fisher did interviews. I enjoyed Bree's interviews, and we may have her do it. She's really good. We may give her a list of about 3 to 4 questions to ask you. We're going to try to do kind of like an early evening pit party before everything gets going over there, set up by the pit board. We have access to do a live from the Southern Oregon Speedway's Facebook page. Stop by, say hi, give a shout out to your sponsors, walk on down to the pits. This is how we promote our sport. This is how you promote your sponsors. This is how you promote what you do. This is things that will help you the next year when you go to ask for a $5,000 sponsor. If they see that you're promoting it, they're more willing to work with you. If you just go out there and say, I want to thank all my sponsors that helped me get here at the end of the night and leave the track, you did your sponsor a disservice. We're trying to help you promote your sponsors. So take the time and come see us. Somebody just commented, this is the quietest I've seen Jason Allen. Well, Jason,
you need to give him something else. You need to give him some topic to talk about.
What time is it? Let's talk about what time it is and what time I got in the studio this morning at 5 whatever. So yeah, what time is it? Almost 8:30. It's almost past my bedtime. And I drank a coffee on the way here just so I'd be awake for this. But hey, I'm just watching you guys do your thing. You know, I'm just enjoying this. So yeah, Roy's hitting it hard. But
right.
Anyway,
So,
but what you're saying about the sponsor, let me add one quick thing to the sponsor thing.
Go for it.
I was just going to say what you're talking about, the sponsor thing. It's going to help all of us because I walk the pits before every night. And what Roy and I are trying to do is streamline the process, get the information, and we're trying to do the sponsors justice, right? We're trying to make sure that the drivers can get their sponsors the recognition they deserve. We'll hit them as many times as we can. I know some of this is behind the curtain stuff, but ultimately just make sure everyone's taken care of, because the more they're taken care of, the better, more sponsors you have, the better equipment you have, the more times you can come out, all that works, right, together. So the more you share with us, the more we can share with everyone else, and everybody wins.
Right. And don't take it personally if I don't know who you guys are. I don't know. I didn't know any modified drivers till this year started. I didn't know any sport modified driver. Well, I learned you real quick when I started having to announce, because I've never done that before either. Pete Bounce says, go have
Roy, just be like, hey, guy, how are you?
Yeah. So Pete Bounce says, go have a big ass burger at Mr. Smith's. How'd he do?
There you go.
So lost you.
Yeah. So no, Pete Bounce said, go have a big ass burger at Mr. Smith's. How'd I do?
Yeah, he's working on a sponsorship.
Yeah. Dustin Knight said, who is your flagger this year?
Tell him I'm going to drive his car.
Is our new flagger this year, actually.
Who is that?
No, actually, Josh Klein is our, he's our best. I mean, he's great. But unfortunately, he can't really come down a lot this year. Keely Boardman has moved back into town. I don't know if I got a 100% answer from him yet, but I did ask Albert to ask him if he was interested, because he did a good job our first year. So, and then we've got Jake Cole, who's our backup flagger, who does a great job.
Okay. Well, we're coming up on the hour and a half mark, and we'll end it here. We can do some more of these. Something that Jason and I may be doing. You may see a combo show with me and Jason. Once the season starts, we're talking about doing like a Southern Oregon Speedway weekly, maybe one evening, maybe a Monday or Tuesday night, to recap what happened over the weekend and what's coming up the following weekend, to keep everybody informed. That's one of the things we mentioned. I don't know if we're going to make that happen, but if not, we're going to continue with the Control Center on Speed Union, that you can see some quick highlight clips from the weekend at Southern Oregon Speedway, Willamette Speedway, Antioch Speedway. So if you have any questions, reach out to Jason on Facebook, reach out to Travis, reach out to Dane, reach out to me. If I don't know the answer, I know who to ask. Just like Chris got his question answered, Dustin got his question answered tonight. So I don't think anybody's trying to keep anything secret anywhere in this group. So
I do like to do a shout out to one person, Renee Accord. Renee is our new tower mom / manager. For those of you that don't know her, she's the one that was helping Kevin down in Wairika doing the show. She's been awesome. She's already been dealing with My Race Pass and Pit Pay. She's doing all the flyers for us on Facebook. So I just wanted to give her a shout out. She's really doing a great job for me.
Yep. And SpeedUnionTV.com will be back at Southern Oregon Speedway this year. You'll get to see a lot of stuff. Hello to Tim Zeller. I'm not sure who that is.
Hi, Tim.
Yeah. Somebody said, did anybody ever win the bounty that was on you, Dane? And then, of course, he froze up then.
Hey, Vern, I don't know. I don't think so. If Skinner was paying it, he wouldn't have paid it anyway. So,
ouch. We're going deep. We're going deep right off the bat. Wow.
I think it's past my bedtime. I gotta go.
That was back in the Dennis Huth days. So
yeah. So all right. Well, guys, thanks for tuning in, and thanks for everybody staying on here. We had a pretty good show tonight as far as attendance and all that stuff. Please do me a favor, reach out, hit the share button, make a post. If you got 5 seconds on your Facebook page, put it out. The R. Charles Snyder will be IMCA Sport Modifieds. 7,007 to win, 707 to start. So everybody start. That's what social media is. You post it, you share it. That's social media. You guys are doing awesome. Good job, SOS. That's from Travis Peary. Said, I just did all the pictures for her. I'm meeting with her Saturday. So
Shout out to Travis on track prep.
yes.
He does an awesome job.
And he will be the track prep guy this year at Southern Oregon Speedway. That's not something that we talked about as far as I know.
Right. He's awesome.
So you can expect a smooth track at Southern Oregon Speedway this year. That's one thing you can always count on with Travis. So,
Yes, sir.
all right. Thank you guys. Anything from you, Jason, before we sign off?
No, I'm good. Just thanks. It's been a lot of fun, and you guys have a good night. And I look forward to seeing everyone out at the track this season. Should be a good time.
All right. So we're going to end it if y'all will hang tight for just a minute.